Hello everyone and welcome to everything you need to know to play Kingdom Hearts 3. For those who do not realize it, this video will contain spoilers and is uploaded before Kingdom Hearts 3 was released. So if any of this information ends up being incorrect, blame Kingdom Hearts 3. In the ancient past, the world was filled with lights. The people believed that this light was a gift from an unseen land by the name of Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts was safeguarded by its counterpart, the Keyblade. Warriors from around the world wanted the light in Kingdom Hearts for themselves and forged weapons called Keyblades and fought one another to obtain the light within Kingdom Hearts. This is known as the Keyblade War. This war ended up destroying the Keyblade, shattering it into 20 pieces, 13 of darkness and 7 of light. After the Keyblade was destroyed, the real Kingdom Hearts was swallowed by the darkness, never to surface again. The few Keyblade wielders that were left after this war decided to use their Keyblades to protect the world from further destruction from the darkness. The light within the children's hearts kept the darkness back, creating some last hope for the world, but they were separated from one another, and the story about the Keyblade and Keyblade War in time became a legend. This is where a man named Xehanort comes in. He was a young boy living on the Destiny Islands and he wanted to see the outside world. Eventually, when he left his home world, he started training to become a Keyblade Master. During his training, he became friends with a man named Ericus. Xehanort traveled to many worlds, learning about the Keyblade War, Heartless, and of course about Kingdom Hearts itself. During his travel through all these worlds, he realized that there was too much light and not enough darkness, bringing these worlds out of balance, so he wanted to recreate the Keyblade War so the whole universe would be reshaped. In order to recreate the Keyblade War, he set his goal to recreate the Keyblade, which was capable of unlocking Kingdom Hearts, which would cause another Keyblade War. After coming up with this plan, he discussed this with his friend Ericus, who rejected the plan because it was too dangerous. As years went by, Xehanort grew old, and he realized that in order to realize his plans, he would need a new and younger vessel. Master Xehanort started training a boy by the name of Ventus to become a Keyblade wielder. And in time, he would put him up against one of Ericus' apprentices of light to forge the Keyblade. Then he could use him as a new vessel. But Ventus proved to be a poor candidate for the job, since he refused to use the darkness inside his heart. So Master Xehanort extracted the darkness from Ventus' heart, which gave birth to Vanitas. Doing this damaged Ventus' heart severely though, and Master Xehanort brought him to the Destiny Islands, where he could die in peace. But Ventus' heart made connection with the newborn called Sora, who connected his heart to Ventus to save him. Ventus was brought to train with Master Ericus, because if he would have trained together with Vanitas, he would have been consumed, and in order to forge the Keyblade they needed to be equal. Seeing how Ventus would not become Xehanort's new vessel, he set his sights on a young man by the name of Terra, who was training under Master Ericus. During the Mark of Mastery exam Terra took place in, Master Xehanort secretly sabotages the test to let Terra fail. Later he tells Terra in order to become a powerful Keyblade Master, he has to embrace the darkness in his heart, rather than fighting it away. Master Xehanort also wanted 7 pure lights, so he and Vanitas traveled to many worlds, looking for the Princess of Heart. During these travels, Xehanort met a fairy by the name of Maleficent, which he manipulated into gathering the 7 Princesses of Heart for his backup plan, would the forging of the Keyblade fail. After this, Xehanort traveled to Radiant Garden to set up a plan with a man named Break to release the darkness inside Terra's heart. This plan succeeds and Break's right eye is heavily injured. After this, Xehanort tells Terra he shows the true Mark of Mastery and names him a Keyblade Master, which makes the young man trust him. When Aqua visits Radiant Garden, she saves a little girl by the name of Kairi from the Unversed and performs the Ritual of Succession by accident. This ritual will allow one to wield a Keyblade. She also casts a spell on her to protect her, so in case her heart would fall to the darkness, it would be safeguarded by the nearest light. During Terra's travels, he ended up in the Destiny Islands, the place where Xehanort grew up as a child. He finds 2 young boys, by the names of Sora and Riku. He senses great potential in the boy Riku to become a Keyblade Master, and he performs the Ritual of Succession. When Ventus learns the king of Disney Castle, Mickey Mouse, is in danger, he decides to go help him. But it was all bait to lure Ventus to the Keyblade graveyard, where Xehanort reveals the truth about Kingdom Hearts, the Keyblade and Vanitas to Ventus. He tells Ventus to go talk to Master Ericus. When Ventus confronts Ericus with all of this, Ericus tries to destroy Ventus, but Terra jumps in just in time to save Ventus. Protecting his friend, he gives into the darkness and kills his master. Master Xehanort destroys Terra's homeworld and tells him to come to the Keyblade graveyard where Ventus and Aqua will meet their ends. During the final battle, Terra gives completely into the darkness, allowing Xehanort to take control over his body. But Terra's mind still lives inside of his armor and he fights Xehanort, which he knocks out, but he's unable to get his body back. Meanwhile, Ventus is fighting Vanitas and forges the Keyblade, but it's destroyed shortly after because Ventus destroys Vanitas and the Keyblade, which also destroys Ventus' own heart. But because his heart was linked to Sora's heart, Ventus could rest within Sora until he was healed again. Aqua brings Ventus' sleeping body to their home world and uses a trick on Master Thorder to transform it into Castle Oblivion, where Ventus would be safe. After this she goes to Radiant Garden where she meets Terranort. She tries to free Terra from Xehanort's possession, and fails in doing so. Terra's heart keeps fighting back against Xehanort though, and Xehanort uses his own Keyblade to separate the two of them, falling into the realm of darkness. Aqua jumps in after Terranort, wanting to save her friend, but she realizes she can't make it back in time before the portal closes, so she traps herself in the realm of darkness to save Terra. Terra's body was found by Ansem the Wise and his apprentices. When Terra wakes up, he says his name is Xehanort. He suffered from amnesia. Xehanort became an apprentice of Ansem the Wise, but secretly continues his research to unlock Kingdom Hearts and the darkness in people's hearts. He eventually regains his memories and unlocks Brake's, Dylan's, Evan's and Yenzo's heart as well as his own. As a result of this, Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, was created alongside with Xemnas, Sigma, Zaldin, Vexen and Zaxian. Xemnas banished Ansem the Wise to the realm in between. Then he started to collect hearts to complete the Moon of Kingdom Hearts and finding vessels to create 13 darknesses. He creates a group of nobodies known as Organization 13. Maleficent finds the ruined world of Radiant Garden and claims it her own, calling it her Bastion. 10 years passed and Sora and Riku grew up on the Destiny Islands, as well as Kairi, who moved to the Destiny Islands after her homeworld, Radiant Garden, fell to darkness. The three teenagers wanted to leave the islands in search for other worlds. During their preparation, Sora encounters a strange man in a brown robe, who tells him his world is tied to the darkness. This man is Xehanort, reduced to just a heart because he traveled back in time. The night before they want to leave, a supernatural storm is blown over the island. When Sora finds Riku, it's already too late. Riku has given in to the darkness and the two of them get separated. Sora ends up getting the Keyblade that was intended for Riku. Sora finds Kairi, but her heart also fell to darkness, but because of Aqua's spell her heart could safely rest inside of Sora. As Destiny Islands is consumed by the darkness, Sora is kicked out of the world and ends up in Traverse Town. In this world he meets the court wizard Donald Duck and the royal knight Goofy, who are searching for a key to find their king, Mickey Mouse. The king told them to protect the one with the key, so the three of them stay together, traveling through many worlds to search for Sora's lost friends. Maleficent, on the other hand, has been going through these same worlds collecting the 7 Princes of Heart. Sora finds Riku, but Riku is under control of Maleficent, and when he asks where Kairi is, Riku lies and says he has no ID, even though he knows she lost her heart. The two of them are split apart again. When Sora arrives in Hollow Bastion, Riku tells him that he is the true owner of the Keyblade, and takes his Keyblade from him. Sora makes his way into the castle and confronts Riku, where he says his heart is his real weapon. It is then the Keyblade realizes that Sora is the one worthy of wielding the Keyblade. After defeating Maleficent, Sora has to fight his own friends, possessed by Ansem. Riku has acquired a Keyblade made out of 6 of the 7 Princesses of Heart, and he needs Kairi's heart to complete it. This Keyblade would have likely been used to be part of the Keyblade. Sora defeats Rixum and sacrifices himself to give Kairi her heart back. In doing so, Sora transforms himself into a Heartless. After some walking around as a Heartless, he finds Kairi, who, without knowing it, uses her Princess of Heart powers to transform Sora back into a human. Going back into the castle, Sora is confronted with a hooded man in a black cloak, who tells him he needs to test Sora's strength. This man is Xemnas, the leader of Organization 13. During their battle, Xemnas collects data from Sora's heart. After this, Sora travels to the end of the world where he fights and defeats Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. At the end of their battle, they find the door to darkness. Sora closes the door with the help of King Mickey, locking Riku and the king himself inside the realm of darkness. Kairi is sent home to the Destiny Islands, but Sora's journey is far from over. As a matter of fact, it's just getting started. At the organization's headquarters in the world that never was, Xemnas has started to order the nobodies of the organization to collect hearts. They eventually came across a nobody called Roxas who could wield a Keyblade. Roxas is Sora's nobody, but he looks like Ven because when he became a Heartless, he also released part of Ven's heart that lived inside him. The same goes for Kairi's heart. By releasing her heart, Sora created a nobody called Namine. A few days after Roxas joined the organization, Xemnas used the data he collected from Sora during their fight to make a puppet out of it called Xion, who could also wield a Keyblade because she was a replica of Sora. Xemnas traveled to Radiant Garden and entered the Chamber of Repose. He would sit there in a chair and remember things from the past. The part from Terra still lives within him. Xigbar tells the other organization members that he heard Xemnas talk to a set of armor, which is Aqua's armor. Xemnas knew Ventus was in Castle Oblivion and he wanted him to use as a vessel, so he sent 6 of his organization members to Castle Oblivion. As Sora, Donald and Goofy walk along a path, they see Pluto with a letter from the king. They chase him down and eventually lose him. In the middle of the night, Sora wakes up and sees a hooded man who lures him into Castle Oblivion. When Sora arrives at the castle, he sees the same man in black. The man tells him that he needs to go through his memories to find something important. Meanwhile, Riku managed to escape the Realm of Darkness, and he ends up in the basement of Castle Oblivion. The man in black who lured Sora into the castle is Marluxia, and he has a plan to overthrow the organization using Sora as a puppet. He wants to use Namine's power to rearrange Sora's memory inside of his heart, so he can use him to overthrow the organization. However, Vexen makes a Riku replica out of the memory he gathers from him and uses Namine to insert false memories to prevent Marluxia's plan to succeed. Marluxia notices this and tells Axel to eliminate all traitors. Going through the castle, Sora has defeated Laroxine and Riku had defeated Laxius. When Vexen wanted to reveal Marluxia's plan to Sora, Axel came in and killed Vexen. Axel also manipulated the Riku replica into killing Zexion. After going through one last floor, Sora finally fought Marluxia. Sora talks to Namine and he gets to decide whether he wants his old memories back or let go of them and keep the memories he gained inside Castle Oblivion. Sora decides he wants his old memories back and goes to sleep for a year. Meanwhile, Riku found out that Ansem was all but defeated. There was still a part of him left inside of Riku that was not defeated yet. He had to fight him and get rid of Ansem for once and for all. During all of this, Roxas was collecting hearts for the organization, and someday Saïx tells him that all members that were sent to Castle Oblivion were killed. Roxas, who thinks Axel, his best friend, was killed, gets upset. He and Xion end up fighting each other because she tells him she's made up of Sora's memories and that in order for Sora to wake up, she must die. As Roxas goes back to the world that never was to confront Xemnas, he is stopped by Riku, who works together with Diz, aka Ansem UIs. Riku could not beat Roxas however, and he had to release the darkness inside of his heart, which made him transform into Ansem. Riku brought Roxas to Diz, who put him away in a digital version of Twilight Town he had created. This also placed fake memories in him, so he didn't remember anything from Organization 13. After about 6 days in this digital Twilight Town, Roxas meets Namine, who tells him Roxas should never have existed. Roxas finds the sleeping Sora and reunites with him, making him a complete person again. After Sora, Donald and Goofy woke up, they wanted to leave Twilight Town, but they encountered a bunch of nobodies. King Mickey jumped in and helped them fight the nobodies, but before they could ask anything, the king ran away. Sora went to Yenset's tower and he learned about Organization 13. Sora traveled to Holla Bastion, now recovered from the darkness, where he met the remaining members of Organization 13. During his travels, he meets all the members individually and ends up destroying most of them. He also learned that the Ansem he defeated a year ago was just the Heartless of Xehanort, and that his nobody is Xemnas, the leader of Organization 13. Sora travels to the world that never was, destroying the remaining members of the organization, only leaving Xemnas. This reveals himself to be Ansem the Wise, and he tries to collect data from the Kingdom Hearts Xemnas has created. The machine blows up and sends Ansem back to the Realm of Darkness. The explosion also transforms Riku back in his normal self. In one final battle, Sora and Riku take on Xemnas together and defeat him, but end up in the Realm of Darkness. After a little while, the door to light opened before their eyes and they could walk back onto Destiny Island. King Mickey returns to his castle and discovers something really important. He sends Sora, Riku and Kairi a letter. When Jiminy looked through his journal, he saw everything has been wiped blank, except one line that said, "Thank Namine." The king decides to transform the journal into data, but it gets infected with a blocky virus. So they use a data version of Sora to clear their way through the journal. Sora ends up in the data version of Castle Oblivion, where he fights Roxas. After this battle they find Namine, and she tells them that there are people who need their help. Then a picture of Terra, Aqua and Ventus appears on the screen. Yenset tells Mickey that Master Xehanort has returned, because once the Heartless and the nobody of someone has been defeated, the original person will return. Sora and Riku are summoned to Yensid's tower to take the Mark of Mastery exam, which will grant them the rank of Keyblade Master if they pass. They are sent to the Sleeping Worlds. These worlds were destroyed by the Heartless. During their exam, the two of them get split up and encounter Xemnas and Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, as well as a younger version of Xehanort. This young Xehanort was given the power of time travel by the same man in the brown robe Sora encountered at the start of his journey, Xehanort, reduced to just a heart. He needed to travel through time and collect as many Xehanort forms as he could, like Xemnas and Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, to form the true Organization 13. He lures Sora into the world that never was, because he wants to use him as the 13th and final vessel. Break explains to Sora that he and the other organization members are going to become Xehanort and that they are part Xehanort already. Sora ends up fighting Xemnas. Although he wins the battle, he falls asleep so the organization can use him as a vessel now. Riku and Mickey arrive at the world that never was and are faced by the Throat after Riku battled a young Master Xehanort. Master Xehanort explains that in his haste to forge the Keyblade 12 years ago, he overlooked the true way of forging the Keyblade, the clashing of 13 Hearts of Darkness and 7 Hearts of Light. Xehanort attempts to make Sora his final vessel, but fails in doing so because Lee, Axel's human form, jumps in and saves the day. Aiza then attacks Lee and Mickey and Riku fight Ansem and Xemnas. This all takes up too much time and the Darknesses must return to their own time. Sora is still asleep though, and Riku dives into his heart to wake him up. Inside Sora's heart, Riku fights the nightmare version of Ventus's armor. After defeating this darkness, Sora wakes up, and possibly Ventus too. After everyone is united at Yensid's tower once again, Riku hears he has been granted the rank of Keyblade Master, but Sora has failed the test. Lee also materializes his very own Keyblade for the first time. Yensid tells Riku to go fetch Kairi because he learned that she too can wield a Keyblade. Yensid is gathering 7 Keyblade wielders of light to fight Xehanort's darknesses, because he knows Xehanort will just use the Princess of Hearts otherwise. And that's that. Well, this took me a long time to edit and render, and not render actually, but to edit, and I had to do a lot of retakes, so recording took a long time. I'm not lying if I say I literally spent at least 4 hours working on the audio of this video. And then the video itself is not even included. I'm probably gonna do something fairly simple for the video, not that that's a big deal at all. And you might hear my voice is a little bit, how should I call it? Fucked up. And towards the end of the video itself, my voice got a little bit cracky maybe. Also, I do have a little bit of difficulty talking. Just a little bit. Because I have been talking for about 3 hours straight and then editing for another at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half even. And I don't want to say I will never do this again because I had a little bit of fun at least doing this, and it's something that I have wanted to do for a long time. But man, it was a lot of work doing so. So I wanted to discuss a couple things about Kingdom Hearts 3, but then it struck me I am doing a Kingdom Hearts podcast on August 10th, so if this goes up before that Saturday, which will be upcoming Saturday if this is aired before then. If I upload this afterwards, it's already online, so go check out on my channel. I will discuss everything I want to see in Kingdom Hearts 3 and what I think will happen in that game in that podcast. So, I'm not gonna do that in this video. Also, I said in the beginning of the video, I think, I don't even remember anymore, I just went over everything really briefly, but I'm gonna go into a couple of things way more detailed, and with a couple of things I mean a lot of things way more detailed in separate videos on my channel. So if you want to see those, by all means go check out my channel if you're watching this way in the future. If you're not watching this way in the future and you are watching this a couple weeks, couple months maybe even after this video has been uploaded, go ahead and subscribe because there are coming videos, way detailed videos about speculation about everything Kingdom Hearts. Basically, I want to do a series where if you watch all videos, you know everything about Kingdom Hearts that you can know. Thing is, if I do that now, Kingdom Hearts 3 will fuck up everything in the information. I will redo every video that supposedly is not true anymore, which will be every single one because we will get new information, so I have to update every single video anyways. But hey, gotta do something. So, Also, I wanted to say other stuff. Oh yeah, I'm doing a Kingdom Hearts Let's Play once I can get my hands on the HD remix in English. So look forward to that. And I will see you all back next time with something Kingdom Hearts related. Or something else. Pokemon, Mario, Final Fantasy. I don't care. Something. Bye.